Is there a soul? That question has haunted humanity for centuries. Imagine lying on your deathbed, wondering what comes next. Does a part of you live on today? We dive into this mystery, guided by Elisabeth Kübler-Ross, the woman who changed how we face death. Her work, her heart, her belief in something eternal. It all points to one idea. Death might not be the end. Picture this. A patient, moments from passing, sees a radiant light, feels peace, even meets loved ones gone before. Kübler-Ross heard these stories, thousands of them, and they shaped her. She believed the soul, that spark inside you, could be forever. This journey is for you, those who've lost someone or faced your own mortality. At 45, 55, or 65, you've lived enough to wonder, what's the truth about the soul through faith stories and Kübler-Ross's wisdom? We'll explore. Stay with us. This isn't just a video. It's a chance to reflect, to feel, to find meaning. Hit that subscribe button and let's begin. Who was Elisabeth Kübler-Ross? She was a beacon of compassion, a woman who dared to talk about death when no one else would. Born in 1926 in Zurich, Switzerland, she was one of 3 identical triplets. Even as a child, she felt a pull toward helping others. At just 5 feet tall, she had a giant spirit. After World War II, she volunteered in refugee camps, seeing suffering that shaped her. Those moments, she later said, taught her life's fragility. By the 1950s, Kübler-Ross was a doctor, moving to America with her husband, Emmanuel. She worked in hospitals, but something troubled her. Patients facing death were often ignored, left alone in sterile rooms. Doctors focused on curing, not comforting. She thought, this isn't right. People deserve dignity. So, she began sitting with the dying. She listened, really listened. A woman with cancer shared her fear of leaving her kids. An old man spoke of seeing his late wife in dreams. These weren't just patients. They were people, with souls, with stories. Kübler-Ross's work wasn't academic. It was personal. She believed every life had meaning, no matter how close to the end. In the 1960s, she started seminars at the University of Chicago, inviting terminally ill patients to share their thoughts. Students, doctors, even priests came to listen. Imagine that room, a young mother, frail but fierce, describing a vision of light, a war veteran, tears in his eyes, saying he felt peace for the first time. These stories shook everyone. Kübler-Ross didn't just teach, she awakened. Her big break came in 1969 with her book, On Death and Dying. It wasn't a dry medical text, it was a revolution. She introduced the 5 stages of grief denial: anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. These weren't rigid steps. They were a map, showing how people navigate loss. The book hit home for millions. If you're 55 or 65, you might remember it on your parents' shelf. It gave words to feelings we all face. Kübler-Ross made death human. She made it okay to talk about. But here's what set her apart. She didn't stop at grief. She asked, what happens after? Is there a soul? Her patients' stories, their visions of light, their sense of leaving their bodies, they stayed with her. She began to believe death was a transition, not an end, but a doorway. Let's step back. The 1960s were a different time. In America, death was taboo. Hospitals hid dying patients behind curtains. Families whispered about cancer. Nobody said, I'm scared to die. Kübler-Ross changed that. She walked into those hospital rooms, sat by those beds, and asked, how do you feel? What do you see? Her questions weren't just medical, they were spiritual. She wanted to know about the soul, that invisible part of us. Her research wasn't typical. She didn't use charts or machines. She used her heart. She collected stories, thousands of them, from people of all walks. A farmer in Iowa, a teacher in New York, a grandmother in Texas. They all told her similar things. Many saw a light, warm and welcoming. Some felt they floated above their bodies, watching doctors work. Others met loved ones who'd passed. Kübler-Ross called these near-death experiences. To her, they were clues. Maybe the soul doesn't die. Maybe it moves on. This wasn't easy work. Some doctors called her crazy. Science demanded proof, not stories. But Kübler-Ross didn't back down. She said, "Listen to the patients. They're the experts." Her courage inspired a movement. By the 1970s, hospices started popping up across America. These weren't cold hospitals. They were places where people could die with love, with family, with peace. Kübler-Ross's ideas made that happen. She showed us death could be beautiful. Her impact went beyond medicine. She touched culture, talk shows, churches. Even movies started exploring death and the soul. People began asking, "What do I believe?" If you're watching this, maybe you've asked that too. Maybe you've lost a parent, a spouse, a friend. Kübler-Ross's work speaks to you. She said, "Don't fear death. Embrace it. It's part of life." She wasn't perfect. Some criticized her later work, saying she leaned too far into spiritualism. But even then, her core message held, love matters, connection matters, the soul, whatever it is, matters. By the time she died in 2004, she'd left a legacy. Her books, her hospices, her 5 stages, they're still with us. Today, we'll keep exploring her ideas. What did she learn about the soul? How can her wisdom guide us? Stay with us. You won't want to miss this. What is a soul? It's a question as old as time. For centuries, people have looked to the stars, to their hearts, to their faiths, seeking answers. If you're 55 or 65, you've probably wondered too, maybe at a funeral, or in a quiet moment alone. Today, we'll explore what the soul means through the world's great religions and through the eyes of Elisabeth Kübler-Ross. Her work, her stories, they light the way. In Christianity, the soul is sacred. It's the breath of God, given to you at birth. The Bible says it's eternal, destined for heaven or hell. Picture a church in small-town America, a preacher saying, "Your soul is your true self. It's what lives on." For many of you, this feels familiar. It's comfort, it's hope, but it's not the only view. In Islam, the soul, or ruh, is a divine gift. It's judged on the day of resurrection. A mosque in Dearborn, Michigan, might teach that your soul carries your deeds, good or bad. It's what faces God. This belief shapes millions, offering purpose, accountability. Now, consider Hinduism. The soul, called Atman, is eternal but not separate. It's part of a greater whole, like a drop in the ocean. In a temple in Atlanta, you might hear about reincarnation. Your soul travels through lives, learning, growing. Buddhism, born from the same roots, sees no permanent soul. Instead, it's a stream of consciousness, reborn until enlightenment. These ideas differ, but they share something. They say you're more than your body. There's a spark, a light, something that endures. Kübler-Ross loved this. She wasn't tied to one faith. She listened to everyone. Christians, Muslims, Hindus, skeptics. She believed the soul was universal. To her, it was energy, pure and timeless. She'd say, think of a candle. The flame moves to a new wick, but it's still fire. That's the soul. Her patients taught her this. A man in Ohio, dying of heart failure, told her he saw a golden light. A child in California whispered about angels. These weren't random. They were patterns. Kübler-Ross wrote them down, thousands of stories. They shaped her view. The soul, she said, is what connects us all. It's love, it's memory, it's you. Let's dive deeper. Elisabeth Kübler-Ross didn't just study faith. She lived it through her patients' eyes. In the 1970s, she became fascinated with near-death experiences. You've probably heard of them. Someone flatlines, then comes back, saying they saw something. A light, a tunnel, a loved one. For Kübler-Ross, these weren't just stories, they were evidence. Imagine a hospital in Chicago, 1975. A woman, let's call her Sarah, 62, survives a heart attack. She tells Kübler-Ross, "I left my body. I floated above the bed, saw the doctors working. Then a warm light pulled me in. I felt peace, like I was home." Sarah wasn't alone. Kübler-Ross heard this again and again. A truck driver in Texas saw his late father. A nurse in Oregon felt her grandmother's embrace. These people weren't dreaming. They were clear, calm, transformed. Kübler-Ross called this proof of the soul. She said, "The body dies, but the soul moves on. It's like a butterfly leaving its cocoon. The cocoon breaks, but the butterfly flies free." This image stuck with her. She'd ask patients, "What did you see? What did you feel?" Their answers were her gospel. Skeptics pushed back. Scientists said, "It's just the brain, oxygen-starved, firing random signals." Kübler-Ross didn't argue. She'd smile and say, "Talk to my patients. You'll see." Her faith came from their truth. She believed the soul was energy, unbound by flesh. It could visit loved ones, cross realms, exist forever. This matters to you, our audience. At 45, 55, or beyond, you've faced loss. Maybe you've felt a presence, a sign from someone gone. Kübler-Ross would say, "Trust that. It's your soul connecting to theirs." Her work invites you to wonder, what do you believe? Have you had a moment, a dream, a feeling that made you think, there's more? We're not here to prove or disprove. We're here to explore. Kübler-Ross's gift was her openness. She didn't judge. She listened. And she left us a question. If the soul exists, what does it mean for how we live? Hold that thought. We'll dig into real stories next. Stories that might change how you see death and life. Don't go anywhere. Stories have a way of touching us. They make the unknown feel real. Elisabeth Kübler-Ross knew this. She didn't just study death. She collected stories, raw and human, from people facing the end. For you, at 55 or 65, these stories might echo your own losses, your own questions about the soul. Let's step into her world, into the hospital rooms where she found meaning. Picture a small hospital in Denver, 1972. A man named John, 58, lies in bed, his lungs failing. Kübler-Ross sits beside him, her notepad open. John's voice is weak, but his eyes are alive. He tells her, "I saw my brother, the one who died in the war. He was standing at the foot of my bed, smiling. I wasn't scared anymore." Kübler-Ross listens, nods, writes. She's heard this before, but it still moves her. John's story isn't unique. It's one of thousands. She called these moments near-death experiences. People on the edge of death saw things, felt things that science couldn't explain. A woman in Seattle, 60, said she floated above her body during surgery, watching the doctors. A farmer in Missouri, 70, saw a meadow, bright and endless, where his parents waited. These weren't hallucinations. They were vivid, peaceful, life-changing. Kübler-Ross believed these stories held truth. She'd say, "The soul speaks when the body quiets." Her patients became her teachers. A grandmother in Florida, dying of cancer, described a light, warm and golden, that made her feel loved. A veteran in Ohio spoke of a tunnel leading to his childhood home. Each story was different, but they shared a thread: peace, connection, something beyond. For Kübler-Ross, these were glimpses of the soul. She wrote in her book, Life After Life, that death is a transition, like a ship sailing out of sight. The ship doesn't vanish, it just moves on. If you've lost someone, maybe a parent or a spouse, this might resonate. Have you ever felt them near a breeze, a dream, a memory? Kübler-Ross would say, that's their soul, touching yours. Her work gives us permission to believe. Let's go deeper. Kübler-Ross didn't just collect stories. She let them change her. She'd sit with a patient, hold their hand, and cry with them. Her heart was as open as her mind. For our audience, those of you who faced grief, her work feels personal. It's a bridge between fear and hope. Let's meet another patient. Through her eyes, imagine a hospice in Tucson, 1980. A woman, Clara, 64, is nearing the end. Kübler-Ross visits, her presence calm. Clara whispers, I saw my daughter, the one I lost as a baby. She was grown, beautiful, holding my hand. I'm ready now. Kübler-Ross smiles, tears in her eyes. She's heard this so often, yet it's always new. Clara dies that night, peaceful. Her story stays with Kübler-Ross, and now with us. These experiences weren't rare. Kübler-Ross documented thousands. A teacher in Boston, 50, saw his late wife during a coma. A mechanic in Dallas, 68, felt himself lift out of his body, surrounded by light. They all came back changed. Fear was gone. Love remained. Kübler-Ross said, this is the soul's work. It prepares us, connects us, carries us forward. Her research wasn't without critics. Some doctors said, it's just the brain, chemicals firing in panic. Kübler-Ross didn't fight them. She'd say, sit with a dying person. You'll feel it. Her strength was her empathy. She believed the soul was energy, eternal, like a river flowing beyond the body. Her book, On Death and Dying, shared these ideas, touching millions. If you're watching, you might have read it or known someone who did. This matters to you at 45, 55, or beyond. You've seen life's highs and lows. Maybe you felt a loved one's presence or had a moment you can't explain. Kübler-Ross's stories invite you to trust those moments. They're not just yours, they're universal. She taught us to listen, to feel, to wonder. What do these stories mean for you? Do they make you think about your own soul? We're not done yet. Next, we'll explore how Kübler-Ross's ideas shape the way we live, not just how we die. Her wisdom is a gift, one that can guide us every day. Stay with us. This journey is just getting deeper. What does it mean to believe in a soul? For Elisabeth Kübler-Ross, it wasn't just about what happens after death. It was about how we live now. At 55, 65, or beyond, you've lived through joy, pain, loss. You've asked, what matters most? Kübler-Ross's answer was clear. The soul, that eternal spark, calls us to love, to connect, to live fully. Let's explore her wisdom and what it means for you. Kübler-Ross believed the soul is energy, timeless, carrying our essence. She'd say, think of your life as a canvas. Every act of kindness, every moment of forgiveness paints a stroke on your soul. It's what you take with you. She learned this from her patients. A man in Pittsburgh, 62, dying of cancer, told her, I wasted years being angry. In the end, only love matters. His words stayed with her. They shaped her mission. She urged us to live with purpose. Imagine a Sunday morning in your hometown. You're at a diner, sharing coffee with a friend. You listen, really listen, to their struggles. That's your soul at work, Kübler-Ross would say. It's in the small moments, holding your grandchild's hand, planting a garden, calling your sister after years apart. These acts ripple, they strengthen your soul and others. Her book, On Death and Dying, wasn't just about grief. It was a call to action. She wrote, "The soul grows through love and service." For you, maybe that's volunteering at a shelter in Chicago, or forgiving someone who hurt you. If you're 60, you know time is precious. Kübler-Ross's patience taught her, don't wait, live now, love now. This hits home for our audience. You've seen life's fragility, maybe lost a partner, a parent. Kübler-Ross's words offer comfort. Your soul, she believed, holds every memory, every bond. That hug from your mom, that laugh with your best friend. It's not gone. It's part of you, forever. She'd say, live so your soul shines. What's one thing you could do today to make that happen? Let's go further. Kübler-Ross didn't just want us to live. She wanted us to live without fear. Death, she said, is a teacher. It shows us what's real. For her, the soul was proof we're more than our bodies. It's what lets us face life and death with courage. If you're watching, her message is for you. Let's see how it applies. She often shared a story. A woman in Miami, 67, lay dying in a hospice. She told Kübler-Ross, I spent my life worrying about money, about what people thought. Now, I see my soul is all that matters. I wish I'd lived freer. That woman's regret became Kübler-Ross's lesson. She'd ask, what's holding you back? Fear, anger, let it go. Your soul is waiting. This was her gift. She saw death not as an end, but a mirror. It reflects how we live. In her workshops, she'd challenge people. Write down what you'd do if you had 1 year left. A teacher in Oregon wrote, I'd travel with my kids. A mechanic in Texas said, I'd tell my dad I love him. Kübler-Ross would smile and say, do it now. Your soul doesn't wait for permission. For you, at 45 or older, this resonates. Maybe you're retired or nearing it, wondering what's next. Kübler-Ross's work says, make it count. Call that friend you miss. Start that hobby you shelved. Her patience showed her. The soul thrives on joy, not regret. Picture a summer evening, grilling burgers in your backyard, laughing with neighbors. That's your soul, alive, right now. She left us a challenge. Live so your soul is full, not with stuff, but with meaning. She'd say, when you die, your soul carries your love, your kindness, nothing else. If you've ever felt stuck, her words are a push. Try something new. Forgive yourself. Reach out. What's one step you can take? Her legacy isn't just about dying well. It's about living well. Next, we'll wrap up with how her ideas can guide us every day. Don't miss it. We've come a long way together. From asking, is there a soul, to exploring the mysteries of death and life. Elisabeth Kübler-Ross has been our guide, her wisdom lighting the path. For you, at 55, 65, or beyond, this journey isn't just a video, it's a chance to reflect on what matters. Let's look back and see what her work means for us today. Kübler-Ross taught us death isn't the end, it's a doorway. She believed the soul, that spark inside you, is eternal. Her patience showed her this. A grandmother in Chicago, seeing her late husband in a golden light. A veteran in Texas, feeling peace as he neared the end. These stories, thousands of them, shaped her. They're not just tales. They're proof, she'd say, that love and connection live on. Her book, On Death and Dying, changed the world. It gave us the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. But it did more. It made death human. For our audience, maybe you read it after losing someone, a parent, a spouse. It helped you name your pain. Kübler-Ross's gift was her heart. She listened. She cared. She saw the soul in everyone. We explored faith too. Christianity calls the soul God's breath. Islam sees it facing judgment. Hinduism says it's reborn. Kübler-Ross loved all these views. She'd sit in a hospital room, hearing a patient's story, and think, it's all connected. The soul is universal, she said. It's energy, flowing through us, beyond us. Her near-death research backed this. People saw lights, met loved ones, felt peace. She'd ask, what does that mean for you? This resonates with you. You've lived enough to know life's highs and lows. Maybe you felt a presence, a sign from someone gone. Kübler-Ross would say, trust it. Your soul is speaking. Her work invites us to wonder, to feel, to believe. It's not about proof. It's about meaning. What's your story? What do you carry in your soul? Now, let's bring it home. Kübler-Ross didn't just want us to think about the soul. She wanted us to live for it. Her message is simple but powerful. Live with love. Live without fear. At 45, 55, or 65, you're at a crossroads. Maybe you're retired, or grieving, or searching for purpose. Her wisdom is your guide. Let's make it real. Picture a quiet evening in your backyard. Fireflies glow, crickets hum. You're with family, laughing, sharing stories. That's your soul. Kübler-Ross would say, shining bright. She learned from her patients. Don't wait. A woman in Florida, 70, told her, I wish I'd loved more, worried less. Kübler-Ross took that to heart. She'd challenge you. What's one thing you can do today? Call a friend. Forgive a grudge. Start a dream. Her legacy lives in her books, her hospices, her ideas. If you haven't read On Death and Dying, pick it up. It's not heavy. It's hopeful. Or visit a hospice. See her work in action. For you, this matters. You've faced loss. Maybe questioned what's next. Kübler-Ross says, your soul carries your love, your kindness, forever. Live so it's full. We want to hear from you. In the comments, share your story. Have you felt a loved one's presence? What makes your life meaningful? Your words could inspire someone watching. And if this video moved you, hit that like button. Subscribe, tap the bell. We're exploring big questions like this every week. As we close, let's honor Kübler-Ross. She died in 2004, but her light burns on. She'd say, death is a butterfly leaving its cocoon. Your soul is that butterfly, free, eternal. Take a moment today. Reflect. What's one act of love you can do for yourself, for someone else? That's her gift to us. Thank you for joining us. This isn't goodbye. It's a beginning. Keep living, keep loving, keep wondering. We'll see you in the next video.